Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and first of all, let me express my sincere thanks to Financial Express for having given this opportunity to come and briefly explain to you some details about this new initiative that is taking place in our country with the support of the Government of India. This is a very, very new idea, and I am sure that it will not be possible for all of us to discuss and understand the total plan and vision of ONDC and how it could impact the industry in general and small and micro MSME sector in particular. So what I will do is that I will give a big picture explanation to help you appreciate the concept and understand the possibilities. And then I welcome you to sort of go deeper into it, and based on which line of business, whether you are a B2B, whether you are B2C, whether you are in what domain, whether you are in products or whether in services, in products, whether you are fashion or whether you are in component manufacture, anything, because these are all going to be, practically the whole commerce is going to be impacted. Then we will have to create a roadmap, and then you would decide. So to help you decide understand this in detail, every Tuesday we conduct a business briefing online. So what I'll do, since I'm only going to give you a very brief explanation on the possibilities, anybody who's interested to know more are welcome to send a mail to team@ondc.org, which will to sort of opt into this business briefing that happens practically every Tuesday, and where it is a very detailed discussion on how to become a part of this network, not just to say what's the benefit of this network. Okay, so today we can look at how it is going to change our life, and then once if it is relevant for you, then you can decide how to become a part of it and join the session. So you heard the person who introduced me explain the big vision of ONDC. It is to democratize digital commerce. Big word, so what does it mean in a very simple terms? So let's take it from some of the examples that we are familiar with. All of us, I'm sure, that are pretty familiar with internet today. In the last 20, 30 years, we have got opportunities to be very, very widely familiar with this. And I'm sure that most of you would be also having a website, to sort of publish to the world what line of business you are in, or publish some information to the whole world. Though all of you may not be in digital commerce, we'll talk to that later, but I'm only talking about the information dissemination and the web page. How do you decide to develop? How do you develop a web page? Sometimes, it's got a very standard protocol that is there, which is public. HTML using HTTP protocol is public and available for everybody. So some of you may decide, okay, that we have our internal IT people, so let them make one. Sometimes you say that, hey, I don't have the resources and the wherewithal to develop a web page and maintain, server and so on and so forth. I don't want to run my own server. I would like to put it in, let's say, AWS or Azure or somewhere, and I'll get a professional agency to do that. And they all have very standard solution to help you create wide variety of web portals. And once you develop, you don't care which web server you put it in, whether it's in AWS or whether it is in your own terminal, because it doesn't matter, you are still discoverable. You don't have to go and register with, let's say, Chrome and Edge and Firefox, saying that, hey, Chrome, and make refinement and changes significantly to your web portal because, hey, I want to make it available in Chrome, or I want to make it available in Firefox. I want to do it both. Nothing, it is just the same. So long as you have a web portal, it is same. Every browser will discover you. It doesn't matter which web server you put in. You are equally discoverable. It's all because we have an open protocol that is the foundation of this. And what will determine the traffic to your web page is what are you offering? Who is it relevant for? Is it well presented? So your capacity and capability of what you offer and the relevance of that to the relevant community will determine the traffic. Not that, because you went and registered in Chrome, you got more, and because you got registered in, Edge, you got more. Nothing, it doesn't matter. But when it comes to e-commerce, life is very different. We have very few very few platforms today who have a majority market share. So the only way for you to be digitally discoverable and to consummate an order is to become a part of this few. And there again, if you are a part of platform X, you are discoverable only to the buyers in that platform. If you are a seller registered in platform Y, you are only discoverable to buyers in that platform. If you want to be discoverable to both the set of buyers, you have to make your systems and processes and IT systems, everything, tuned to the specific proprietary protocol used by both parties. It adds to your cost. And they also have their own terms and conditions with respect to advertisement, with respect to commission, with respect to service charges, with respect to return. Everything is determined by those platforms. Whereas when you sell your products in the physical world, you determine. You have your terms and conditions. This situation is because the digital commerce works through walled gardens or using proprietary technology. And that is the limitation. This is a problem not just in India, it's a problem everywhere in the world. So that is why the initiative that we are considering in India is to say, can we make it to a complete open network, as in the case of a digital information dissemination. So if what it says that if there could be different kinds of seller platforms, either by third party or by yourself, based on your comfort with developing those platforms or applications, using an open protocol. Protocol is common, standard for everybody, like HTTP. So whichever platform you are in, you are equally discoverable to the whole world. So there is no need to go into being there in multiple platforms. So then now you'll ask me how the whole world will discover you. So that's why the idea of ONDC comes in. Idea of ONDC is that can we unbundle the building blocks of commerce? And unbundle means what? You are in a building block of commerce, there is a buyer-seller integration, there is logistics, there is buyer integration, there is payment. In today's platform, these are all done by one integrated solution using proprietary technology. If you leave it, each of this component, let's say buyer interface is done by people who are experts in helping the buyers to make their choice. If the seller interface can be done by people who are expert in handling the seller's requirement of digitization of their catalogs, helping them on logistics and so on and so forth. If they are unbundled, then you can see specialization driving in. And one question that comes, if they are all different people doing things, how will they all talk to each other? So do we have a common protocol, standardized protocol, which will help you to seamlessly integrate all of them? We are very familiar with this in every other business. I mean, since you guys are all industrialists, you know it very well. Now you look at Maruti car manufacturer. They don't create all components. They don't make all the tires. It's all done by specialized agencies. But they all have some standard specifications for each company. You know, there's a specification for a screw, there's a specification for a tire, there's a specification for a nut, for a wiper, all of them. And that specification enables third parties like you to make them, manufacture them. And the standardization help Maruti to seamlessly integrate all of them to give a seamless experience of a holistic vehicle. And we as a consumers don't even know who has made what. At the end of it, it's a nicely stitched together experience. This happens in everything. Remember when the cell phone companies set up, they had their own, everything was done by them, their own towers, and it was a inefficient use of resources. Now, as you know that if I make a call from my phone, it would Airtel, it go to the same tower as the phone from him going from the Vodafone, because they are sharing the infrastructure. So the idea of optimum utilization, specialization and innovation in each of the segment becomes very, very relevant. And that is what ONDC is enabling. So now let's look at how the buyers will come. There are different, I'm talking to B2C, we'll go to B2B, idea is the same. There are different entities like banks, fintech companies, like Paytms and PhonePays, banks like Kotak and SBI. All of them who have digital interface to consumers, but for their product, but their service. For example, bank will allow you to go and check my balance and make a financial transaction. Fintech Paytm will say, if I want to make money for any bank account, so somebody else, I can do that. Telcos, Airtel will say that, okay, you want to make a phone call, I'll give you telco services. But if they have to offer e-commerce, they have to go and list all the sellers. And now every lister, it's practically impossible. That's not a specialization. So now the situation I said that every seller can use this protocol to be present in one platform and be discoverable in the whole network. Now that all the sellers are available, you're talking the same language. These various buying platforms like Paytm or Telco, they can create an interface and say, my customers come and express your interest what to buy. I don't know who are there, the sellers. They are all out there. All of them are equally visible for me. I'll help you to make your search focused and broadcast to all relevant sellers, not anybody who's tied up with me, who's giving me some extra advertising, not anybody who is my related company, nothing. Whoever seller has made their catalog visible, I'll go and search. And I'll help you to shortlist. I am your agent, buyer's agent, not seller's agent. I'm not trying to push any product. I'm trying to help you, the buyer. So when that happens between these entities, our whole digitally familiar population. Today we have, as per the statistics, we have about 1.5 billion people in our country. Almost 1 billion are very digitally familiar and comfortable, and a great percentage of them use smartphone and so on and so forth. So all of them are now talking the same language to search, same language to place an order, same language to tie up for a contract and make the payment and so on and so forth. Now that, this 1 billion customers is available as a pool. So customers are not anybody's private property. So that is the whole idea of democratization. I know it is a little, first time if you're hearing it's a little confusing, jarring. So you will need to idea is interesting, but to actually take action on it as business people, you will need to do a lot more. That's why I said you should join my business briefing or lots of material. If you go to the net and say ONDC masterclass, you will get fantastic detailed explanation, documentation. And we have also found people who have been able to use that and then start integrating with us. So this whole initiative, if you remember, this is like 6 years ago in UPI. Even I remember knowing, hey, what the hell is this? Because I was used to only dealing with bank. That I'm sure that you would have been in the same situation. But today, even the vegetable vendor on the road knows how to ask for get a QR code and tell the consumers to come and pay with PhonePe, Google Pay, whatever pay that is there. And that is going to be a transfer. So today it's like UPI 6 years ago. We have just started. The organization has been established with the initiative from the government. We have started pilot. We started with only B2C as of now, and that too also in two categories, which is essentially grocery and food. But it is in at an accelerated speed, everything is happening. For example, in a month's time, we expect initial set of B2B sellers and buyers will come. And all the other categories, like fashion, beauty products, and electronics, and consumer durables, and everything is coming. In the next 4 or 5 months, you will see all of them fully active. And services, like financial products. And also mobility. For example, we already have a pilot running in mobility, mobility is what? Like Ola and Uber, every taxi driver should be equally visible. So we have a pilot that is running. So what does it mean to the business, especially small and micro enterprises, medium enterprises, as our earlier colleague said, to become larger? One of the couple of essential requirements I'll just touch here, is to go larger one is market access. Now, market access suddenly can be enhanced at your own terms and conditions. There will be different kind of sellers. For example, if you look at our physical market, some people they have brands which only sell through high-end malls. Some people have their own proprietary stores. Some they sell through supermarkets. Some they even sell through a large chain of small merchants across, based on what product. So similarly, all this have equal opportunity, and the relevant buyers can come and buy. It's like in the hotel, there are 5-star hotels and there are dabbas. Each of them will proliferate for their respective set of clients. Unlike today in the digital market, I'm sure some of you know the statistics, while we are all belong to a class of people who are using it extensively, the penetration is only 6 to 7% in the buying side, and selling side it's less than a percentage. Because like any other business, they are looked at the most lucrative segment of business, and that's where the focus is. But the rest of the people do not have equal opportunity. And that is the equal opportunity that we are talking about. So there are, like we said in the case of web page, you could be having your own. So some enterprises may decide to integrate your current IT system using ONDC protocol. Some of you may use seller platforms. So there are already many seller platforms who are live, and many more on pipeline. As of today, some about 300 or 400 seller platforms are already under different stages, and 22 of them are already live. All details are available on the net. So you could, after listening to our business briefing, take a call. Should I do it by myself, or should I take somebody else's help? And it's also heartening to know that knowing the possibilities, different entities like the ministry, central ministry, state ministry, NABARD, SIDBI, etc., are also taking initiative to encourage enterprises to set up these kind of platforms on the relevant segment. Okay, so at this point of time, for some of you it might be relevant to immediately join. For some of you it might be relevant in 6 months' time. But keep a track of this, and take the advantage of and benefit from it. From this open forum that is being created for the industry. So what is the ultimate vision of the ONDC? Is that anybody, any enterprise who has any products or services to sell should be able to make their catalog visible in an open network without worrying where the demand will come. The demand will come based on the quality of their offering and their total brand building plan, as in the case of physical market, and appropriate buyer platform. It could be from bank, it could be SBI, it could be Kotak, it could be Paytm, it could be PhonePe, it could be a buyer platform set up by one of the ministries because they are focused on that particular industry. Because I can see all those things happening. And they will be able to discover this product and enable consummation of the solution. So this is the big picture that I wanted to share with you. I have with me my colleague Saransh also come here. Later, you can probably, if you want to know more, we can answer some questions. You can join the business briefing, and probably if you allow, if one or two questions, critical ones need to be taken now, I'll be happy to do that too. Thank you.
May I please request you to spare a moment on the stage, and if I can invite our CEO back on the stage again to present, sir, with a token of appreciation. If we have any questions from the audience as well, if anyone wants to ask any questions, sir, if you can spare a few more moments. Thanks a lot.
Hello, sir. My name is Himash Mehta, and I'm a PhD scholar at IIT Delhi. So I'm building my expertise in information systems and small businesses. Recently I'm looking in the ONDC, like what's happening. So I'm listening your videos, audios, everything. So I just wanted to ask, if a small store, hyperlocal store, they wanted to join the network, ONDC network, then they can only join through the sellership, or they have, like, if they have their own website or something, or like how they will join that?
Okay, that's what I said in the beginning. From an architecture point of view, it doesn't matter how they come, so long as they can make their catalog visible. I'm first the technical part, then look at the business side. Their catalog visible using ONDC protocol. Okay, and there would be, in the coming days, you would see many small, smart startups, okay, developing some solutions like this. And once they make their system ONDC protocol compliant, they can get it certified through ONDC and become a network participant. But if there are small kirana stores, see what happens is we'll also have to work within the rules of our country. Okay, so there is, when we all become a part of the community, there is certain good discipline and business processes expected, which is called the network policies. What do you mean by discipline? For example, we have created a digital highway. In the physical highway, everybody has to drive on the left side. Okay? I mean, there's nothing absolute about it. In America, they don't ride on the right side. But to avoid confusion, there's a set of rules. Similarly, we have a set of rules of how to behave in this digital rails. So all those compliance, etc., will have to be handled by who join directly as the network participants. Okay? So network participants that way either become, like, under the e-commerce policy, they will become an inventory seller, or they could be a marketplace. So if they are coming by themselves, they become an inventory seller. So some of them may not want to do it. Like I said, no, if you want to create the kirana store, I mean, today many kirana stores have their own website too, through Wix or WordPress or something, or present, or they use some WhatsApp, I mean, whichever way, because they're all digitally aware. So what they do is, many of them, that's why there are small startups, small enterprises who are creating small platforms for local stores or something, and tell them, okay, you don't have to worry about everything, I'll help you to do that. Even if you take one, I mean, let's take it one extra practically. Let's say you talk about kirana store for grocery. Imagine each grocery has to sort of digitize their catalog. Of course they can digitize. It comes at a cost. Whereas if some local enterprise, smart enterprising person who's creating a common this thing and creating the standard catalog, the only thing each kirana store will have to put in is only their inventory and the price. Catalog becomes standard. Now so that is why for small enterprises, they don't have to now think that they have to be in part of big Amazons or Flipkart. They have much larger expectations in terms of their sophistication of systems, processes, and price and commissions. So this will be supported by some smart young entrepreneurs who will develop those kind of compliance requirement or IT requirement relevant for the small. If I again give you an example, two examples which are already there. For example, there used to be a company called GoFrugal. They used to be developing point of supply software for grocery stores. It's a simple software. What they have now become, they have made that POS software ONDC compliant. And now that ONDC compliant software, now suddenly that kirana store is visible. Or if I give you in the food industry, you are all familiar with Swiggy and all of them, Zomato, with whom you interact. But they all have something which each of the shops have their own software. Restaurants have their own software. There are two enterprises today, between them, handle about 70% of the e-commerce software for the restaurants in India. Okay, one is called Pet Puja. Okay, and so now let's say that today they have Pet Puja can only connect to Swiggy and Zomato. Swiggy has their own requirements, Zomato will have their own requirement, whatever it is. Tomorrow Pet Puja is making their application, they will go live maybe in a week's time, ONDC compliant. So then those restaurants are visible to all buyer application, not just for Swiggy or Zomato. It will be visible for Paytm, it will be visible for PhonePe, it will be visible for IDFC Bank. Tomorrow when SBI comes, it will be visible for everybody. Suddenly, life changes. So this is the way in which an open network will grow, not, unlike the proprietary platform.
On December 1, 4 banks in India have launched the e-rupee or the digital rupee. So I have, like, it's absolutely new concept, so we are not aware of it. So I asked somebody, so he said it is working on NFT, that is non-fungible tokens. Can you explain a little bit how the e-rupee or the digital rupee, in some brief
Boss,
way?
this, I can talk outside to you. This is a larger forum. We talk about ONDC. And as a CEO of ONDC, I have to talk that.
Okay.
But I can just tell you one line example for maybe. You know. Today, let's say you go to any bank and give a 500 rupee note and tell you to give you 1 rupee coins.
Okay.
You don't have an account,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
They'll give you 500, 1 rupee coin, 500 1 rupee coin, which you
Okay.
can.
Okay.
And then you can give it to anybody, correct?
Okay.
Imagine instead of coin, they give you a digital token onto your machine.
Okay. You mean it gets into your smartphone or something?
Something equivalent to that, an app.
Like a digital.
So it is
wallet.
like a digital token.
A digital digi wallet they call.
Wallet is different. Wallet is a store.
Okay.
That means balance is again account that is being kept.
Okay.
Here it's like coin.
Digital app is there, is it?
This is a coin. That coin contains everything about it.
Oh.
You don't have to have an account with anybody.
Okay.
So it's a little difficult to conceptual. That's why I try to make it. It is like a digital coin. So you may not even have, like when you go to the bank and ask for 1,000 rupees chillad, na? You don't have an account with them.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't even know which.
Correct.
But that strength comes from the quality of that coin.
Okay.
Here the strength comes from the quality of that digital token.
Okay.
Nobody can copy it. You cannot make 5 copies and sell it 5 times.
Thanks a lot. I'll catch up in lunchtime. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Can I shoot the question, sir?
Go ahead. Unless the organizers tell me to get out of this place, I will answer.
Thank you so much. Well, my name is B.B. Debari. As a responsible citizen, I want to know, does ONDC have a focus towards the rural areas? Question 1. Question 2 is that, as of date, I am unaware if that be the same. The question 2, which is a rider to that, is there a focus area out of all the 28 states in this country? And the last one is, have you targeted any specific products? I'm talking in terms of organics, inorganics into the same, and is there a possibility? Thank you.
The first one, rural, of course, yes. In fact, while we created a protocol to enable everybody, and since everybody gets equal opportunity, we are also, as ONDC, as an organization, trying to help different enterprises to come up to support these different segments. I'll just give you 2 examples of people who are already actively in the stages of integration. One is something that we are all familiar with, CSC, Citizen Service Center, with their presence in lakhs of villages. There they plan to, once they go live, they plan to be helping the local suppliers to make their product visible and local buyers through assisted buying. This is on the government initiative. And another initiative which has already been integrated to our system, who are already going further, is a private company called Spice Money. They have today presence in 1.7 lakh villages with what we call, with local representation, what they call village adhikari or something, who would also expect to deal with the customers and suppliers there. So in the early stages itself, we have given due attention to that. And is it fully prevalent in all these villages? No, but we are working with them to make both seller side and buyer side relevant for the rural side. What was the second question? Was whether any priority. See, there is no prioritization for states. So that's why even when I first did the pilot, I just looked at the 4 regions of our country. And now we have, the other day, the secretary personally has sent out a letter to chief secretaries of every state and asking them to help the local industry to participate. And we are also reaching out to each of them. But of course, as you all know, some states go a little faster, some days go a little slower, but they will all be there. So if I just give you, for example, one of the South Indian states, some of the South Indian states are a little more proactive, have taken a little further step. But we have a very active plan to go for each of them. Similarly, like we said, when we first demonstrated that it works across multiple entities, we started the grocery and food on the B2C side, which is the most difficult part because hyper-local and all kinds of stuff. Food has to be delivered in 30 to 45 minutes time. If you are ordered for a shirt, it doesn't matter even if it comes tomorrow. unless you were planning to say wear that for a party tonight, which is not so often the case. So, but having done that, we are actively, there are separate segment for B2B, for fashion, for food, for BP, etc., helping to develop that segment. While I agree that, so that is why we have even asked the rural customers, the people who are looking at the rural customers, what should be the priority item for them. And we are also trying to create an outreach to merchants to make those products visible. So at the end, see, my biggest challenge that I have, for example, let's say if I was setting up a bank, I will develop my own central core banking system. I may get Infosys or Wipro or TCS to do, and I have practically in my control. Whereas when I try to network, I am like a conductor in an orchestra. I only have a stick to show like this. The orchestra, somebody has to come and play banjo, somebody has to come and play violin, somebody has to play guitar, somebody has to play keyboard, and all of them has to play as per the tune. So I need to encourage and support, then when it becomes an orchestra. So my approach is, again, building up the right kind of instruments which will give the orchestra the starting point and strengthen and enrich the orchestra as the time goes by. I know that as you have experienced in many other initiatives, whether it is bank automation or it is UPI or whether it is COVID, everything, it takes that proliferation for a country of our size with 1.5 billion people and few million enterprises. It will take few months to build. But what we are very confident and sure of is that we have put in a mechanism in place that will help to grow and blossom. And I'm sure that you will all are eagerly looking at that journey and at the right time will jump into the bus.
Mr. Koshy, what you said, in that, do you do the due diligence, the business ethics? Both sides I'm talking.
Ha, sir, that's why, very interesting questions. I know it's a very valid question of building trust. So if I give you, I'll take another 1 hour to explain, because it's about building trust among all of us. So what I've done is we have published a document in our website, Building Trust. And it's available for download with extensive explanation on what we are doing. And we had also asked for public consultation. We got a lot of feedback, which is based on which, good thing about this, the feedback was very, very positive. Okay. And the good thing is that we got good participation, and based on that we are refining and we'll keep refining. So feel free to open it, and if there is any clarification you can send it. It's a very extensive document because, sir, what you asked is a very, very important question for every businessman.
And so the last rider is, my humble submission is, it's your domain. I think as an organization you should concentrate on the Himalayan belt because we have 5-6 problems happening together. Logistics, biggest. Terrain, second. And third is availability of products that can be made available at a wide point of time, but there is no recourse on a digital platform. Thank you. I'll catch you, Mr. Koshy, later.
So my suggestion would be, since you are being, representing and voicing the interest of a set of people who have common problems, I would recommend you to act as a catalyst there to galvanize some entrepreneurs in either setting up appropriate seller platform or setting up appropriate, help the merchants to onboard onto that. Logistics, as I said, that we are bringing all logistics providers, even India Post is under integration. And many other, there are some logistics platform like ShipRocket who have become a part of us. They say that they are present in all pin codes. But we are very conscious about it, and logistics that we are trying to create a national level, and then entrepreneurs help, will be happy. For example, I'm happy to say that some people in J&K, some local enterprises have come together and found a network participants already live, and they're trying to make their categories live. So I will ask you to do that. My organizers have started showing me signs, so I think I'll have to get out. Thank you.
Sir, we can just take one last and short question.
Sure. So, sir, you talked about the discoverability. I think you partially mentioned about the fulfillment part. So what is ONDC creating similar protocols for fulfillment, or? No,
it's all the same setup. It's a comprehensive setup protocol. From discovery to placing order to fulfillment, everything, end to end, logistics, warehousing, all of them. It's a comprehensive set. Only then commerce can become relevant. Only then we can go online network for digital commerce. Otherwise we would have called them websites.
Thank you.
Thank you.